Welcome, everyone. This is Gwydion with RPG Frequencies. Today is going to be my first session trying to play through the adventure that's in the core box for Dragonbane called The Secret of the Dragon Emperor. Now, I'm going to do this completely solo. This is not a playthrough of Deep Fall Breach, or I forget exactly what that one's called. That is the true solo adventure in the core set, but I'm actually going to try to solo the adventure that is part of the core set. So this is a series of, I think, 5 to 8. I don't remember how many different mini adventures. So I've loaded most of this into Poom Companion. I have another video showing how I've done that, and I'll link that here in case you want to check that out. So I'll talk a little bit about my setup, but I'd like to get in pretty quickly into the play. I'm going to try to keep these sessions bite-sized to hold interest, but please let me know if you like it. Give me a comment, drop a like, what have you, just so I know that this is content that folks like seeing. A couple things to start with. I am doing my own interpretation of like solo mechanics. So I'll be using Poom Companion. I'll be using some of the oracles in Poom and the plot unfolding machine by Jensen Bars, maybe some of the scene unfolding machine and game unfolding machine. We'll just see how things go. But I'm going to use those for my oracles. I'm going to play one character, which is Tyrendel. Basically, I just changed the name, but I'm using the hunter that is in the core set. So this is kind of a pre-gen. I have modified just a bit the abilities. So I kept inner peace for an elf. I changed twin shot to fast footwork so I could have a better chance to evade. Maybe I should have kept twin shot. We're going to see how this goes and if I've given myself enough enhancements and advantages to survive a little bit. And then Army of One lets me have um, two initiatives. So that's just how I'm going to play it, and we'll see how this goes. I've got my rolls down here. I won't worry about that for now. And the other thing I'm going to do, which I got inspiration from, I can't remember the game. It might be The Wanderer, but it was a solo game. I'm going to include Chrisana the Bold from the core set, which is a thief, and Archmaster Aeodon. But the way I'm going to use them is I'm gonna basically say they're companions, but I'm only going to let myself use their skills. And I think for now, if it works, what I've done in the initiative tracker is I'm going to say once per fight, I can use one of their unique skills. The other thing I'm trying to do there, one, if I need to take advantage of a spell, I can do that and have a little bit of magic in here. And then two, if I run into something like I really need to worry about a trap or something that's very thief specific, I wanted to give myself an ability to use other skills. So I don't know. We'll see how this goes. But again, what I'm going to do is be able to use them once per combat. And I guess what I'll do is if it's just a normal skill and it's not in combat, I might just let myself use the higher of Tyrendel, Chrisana, or Archmaster Aeodin. The other thing I might do, and this is again inspiration from that other game I mentioned, is if I get to half of my hit points or less, so if I get to 7 hit points, since Tyrendel has 15, then I might say I can't use one of these, and that'll basically simulate that, hey, one of my companions has been knocked unconscious or something, knocked out of the fight. And then once I heal, I'll bring them back. I won't say they're dead and try to go through a whole resurrection, but that's how I plan on playing it. So we'll see how this goes. That's mainly what I'm going to do. So with that, oh, the other thing I will do, and I think I'm going to do it more for just the visuals, is I'm going to use Alchemy RPG. Initially, I was going to run all the combat through that and roll because there are all the rolls are already set up in Alchemy. But the more I thought about it, now that we have a dice roller 3D in Poom Companion, I think I'm just going to do everything within Poom Companion. And I've got the cards so I can roll initiative. So we'll go through that when it's time. So I'm going to so before I jump in, there will be spoilers because this is, again, the core set of adventures. Again, it's a multifaceted, it's a number of different adventures called The Secret of the Dragon Emperor. So if you don't want spoilers, you might want to move on to some other content. I just can't help it. I'm going to be going through the different events and different adventures. Now, maybe you'll be okay with this first one because I think I'm going to cut this off because I've never played Dragonbane and I've never played anything solo that is intended to be a TTRPG. So obviously there are some solo rules in Dragonbane, but I've never tried this myself. So this is completely cold. I'm hoping that if it goes reasonably well, it'll encourage others to try it. And if it's a disaster, maybe you'll never see this. So we'll see how it goes. All right. So yes, spoilers aside, I'm going to dive in. I'm going to read a little bit of the setup and where we are and what's going on. And I'm going to try to balance like what I know and not read too much of the backstory. And hopefully during some of my downtime, I'll read a little bit, give myself a little bit more information, but try not to spoil too much. So let's go to the Misty Vale. This is the map. And you can see I've loaded all of the locations, but I really haven't made it clear what they are. So you can't really see what they are yet, but we'll jump into those in a bit. So let's read a little bit of the background. So the adventures in this book take place in the Misty Vale, a fabled place that for centuries remained beyond human reach. According to legend, the valley was once the heart of a powerful dragon-worshipping empire. But this great civilization fell into ruin and the valley was overrun by orcs. The Misty Vale is surrounded by high mountains, the Kumar Mountains in the south, and the Dragonbane Peaks in the north. Remnants of an ancient road system can sometimes be seen in hollows and passes between the mountaintops. But getting down into the valley is a hazardous enterprise that requires skilled pathfinders and brave swordsmen. The dangers are many and the paths treacherous. The valley spans roughly 150 kilometers in both length and width. It was named the Misty Vale because of the impenetrable haze that often lies thick over the area. The terrain mainly consists of dense, old-growth forests, but near the Kumar River are two large lakes and a vast wetland known as the Haunted Marshes. Around Outskirt, which is in recent years has emerged in the southern part of the valley, there are rolling hills and partially cultivated plains. Fragments of the imperial roads that long ago connected the different parts of the region can be seen in the valley as well, with crumbling and overgrown paving stones occasionally peeking from between moss and ferns. Cracked stone pillars and strange milestones with jagged horn crowns at the top also rise out of the terrain at regular intervals. Right? There's more history, background, and things that really a GM should only know. I've read a little bit, but I'm not very good at retaining that information, so that's probably a good thing. So I don't really remember more of the history, and maybe we'll look at it later. So the first thing I'm trying to do, and I've put this as my first plot beat, I think that's what these are called, is find statuette 1, and that's basically you're trying to put together this entire statuette and finally go to a big battle. So, all right. So this starts you're in the Drakmar Pass. So I'm going to click on this, go to my entry for opening scene, and let me read this a bit. I'm going to make sure I have the opening scene on another screen, so I'm not bothering you, but I can read that if needed. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. And I'm not going to read I'll just give you the description. The situation is more background that we really shouldn't know about, so I'm not going to read that. I'll scan it later. But let's jump in. The Drakmar Pass is a narrow passage through the Kumar Mountains. Its ancient but still discernible road makes it an important route for adventurers, settlers, and others seeking their fortune in the Misty Vale. However, the influx of travelers has also attracted brigands and the occasional beast to the mountain path. Okay, so we're going to go on to the Misty Vale. I'm going to, for now, get rid of my deck, so I have the Oracle up here, and click onto the Misty Vale. All right, so I've been traveling, and again, I'm playing this solo, but we'll pretend that I do have the benefit of my traveling companion. So I'm not sure how I want to play that from a background standpoint, but I am going to say that only my character Turandel can be targeted. So I'll think more about if there's a better way to describe how I'm getting the benefit of the other companions. But anyway, so here we go. The ancient and narrow pass runs through the mountains like an axe gash. Steep, moss-covered slopes rise to the snow-laden peaks that can occasionally be glimpsed through the veils of clouds. Somewhere ahead lies the Misty Vale, the legendary place where the empires of old stored their wealth and magical artifacts. It is the rumor of these treasures that has brought you here, the vast riches and arcane secrets hidden among the ruins on the other side of the mountains. And you are not the first to be lured by such temptations. Since the orcs started leaving the area about a decade ago, a growing stream of settlers and adventurers have made their way to the Misty Vale. But you know the way is treacherous and fraught with peril. The old imperial roads have crumbled, and the mountains are teeming with danger. The Drakmar Pass, where you now find yourself, is particularly infamous. The dwarves of the Kumar Mountains have warned that the humans' return has attracted brigands and ravenous beasts to the area. Your fears come true when you suddenly hear a disconcerting whimper. You see a figure lying in the middle of the rocky trail, only 20 or so meters ahead of you. The figure is wearing a simple gray robe and clutching a dark bundle to his chest. As the whimper turns into rattling wheeze, you realize the person is gravely wounded. Okay, so we're coming up. I think we're coming up from the bottom left, and then I see this guy. So I think I'm going to be a little leery, but I definitely would go up and try to take a look at the body, or this person, the body, this person. So I'm going to read a little bit over here. So I do move closer, as I said. So as I move closer, I see this individual with a pale, panic-stricken face, and notice that one of his thighs is pierced by this thick black arrow. And being a hunter, I'm going to say that I'd like to take a look and see if I can find anything more, discern anything more about the wound. And it becomes very clear. I think it's obvious to me as a hunter that the arrow was poisoned. There's purple-blue streaks that are coming out of the wound, and you can also see some streaking like veins that are appearing on this individual's face, and you can see these like lines, almost like when you have a bite from an insect that's poisonous, like a spider or something. It might start traveling up your veins. That's what it looks like. But then suddenly he sits up straight and hands some kind of bundle to Turindel. And let's see, to Turindel. And he stares at Turindel with eyes wide. And in a fading voice, he says, "Quick, take it. Leonara will understand. Message from Master Weatherman. Must find all 4 pieces. Secret of the Dragon Emperor." So I'm going to, since I will not remember that, this is going to be my first journal entry. And I'm going to say traveling on or through the Drakmar Pass, I find a injured man who hands me a bundle and says, all right, let's see if I can clean this up a little bit. Yeah, do this next time I'll do that in my one of my other programs, so it doesn't look as bad. Okay. All right. So that shows up as Gwydion. Next time I want to change that, but I won't worry about it for now. There we go. I want to make this in the future. Rendell. Good. All right. So as soon as that happens, I see a goblin scout that jumps out from the map. So I'm going to take a moment rather than bore you with all the setup. I'm going to get this set up a little bit and be back in a sec. All right, so I've set this up to the right half of the screen is the image from Alchemy. So I'm going to kind of use that as my map, just a little bit easier. And then on the left-hand side is Poom Companion. I read a little bit ahead, and if I'm actively looking around, then I actually might be able to avoid a surprise here, and I might actually find the scouts who popped out from behind this rock up at the top left of the map. So I think what I'll do for now is I'm going to use my first Oracle roll, and I think this will tell me if it's I think I can move the slider to see if it's better chance or not. But I'm just going to say right now it's 50-50. He is a hunter, so he probably will potentially be looking around. I'm not going to let myself roll for my other companions because I'm going to pretend it's mainly just Tyrendel. So I'm going to do a deterministic roll, and if the answer is yes, then I did spot him and looking. If not, I'm surprised. So let's see. No. So straight up, Tyrendel was really looking hard, and he took the time to examine the wound. So he really wanted to understand, see if he could figure out more about the wound. And as he did that, these scouts surprised him. So what that means is Tyrendel, I have him here to where he gets two initiative rounds, or sorry, two actions, but I'm going to put him down here and here, so he'll get the lowest. And then it doesn't really matter, I guess, but I'll roll just so you can see how this works. I'm going to draw for, let me make sure I've shuffled a few times. I'm going to draw for the scouts. So let's go ahead and do a draw. So if that was a 9 or a 10, I would just throw it aside. But he got a 2, and I just put G for Goblin. I could have put Scout. So there we go. So the Goblin scouts are going to go first. And he is going to fire his short bow as Tyrendel is looking down. And let's see if I can, I'll have to get out of Zen mode. All right, so let's see a little bit more about the scout. So he's going to use his bow. So he needs a 12. I don't think he's going to move to start. Yeah, because he wants to kind of stay out of range. So he needs to roll a 12. So let's find, it's going to take me a little bit to get used to this, but we're just going to roll a straight up D20, that should be a 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Should be this one. So he needs to get a 12 or under. So that is our first actual demon. That is not good. So that is a critical miss. So I'm going to look that up briefly and I know there's a table, but I want to look it up quickly, and we'll be right back. All right, so I'm going to roll. I found the table, and I'm going to roll a straight up D6 to see what happens with him. And I got a 6, which is in the ranged combat. If you have a demon roll, you hit yourself by mistake, roll for damage as usual, but without the damage bonus. So let's look again at what this is really interesting. He immediately did that damage roll, equipment, short bow. Why isn't it letting me? I'm going to look at this quickly, hopefully. Short bow, what is the damage? D10. That's what I was looking for. So let me get back out of that. And for a second, I'm going to go back to Zen mode, make that a little bit more pleasant to read. And then we're going to roll a straight up D10 to see what happens to him. That's an 8. So let's look again at what actually, well, let me view it in Zen mode. It may not. Yeah, well, good. So what is his hit points? Abilities, mechanics, hit points are 9. All right, his hit points are 9. So let me make sure I show that. So his hit points are 9, but less 8. He is down to 1 hit point. So, yeah, he goes down to 1 hit point as he gets excited as Tyrendel is leaning over this body, and he shoots himself. He somehow like shoots himself up through the chin and almost has an arrow go straight up through his head, but fortunately he's able to pull it out, fortunately for him, but he's only got 1 hit point left. All right, so we are going to say what is supposed to happen is a warg rider is supposed to come and basically in round 2, but I'm gonna make him appear just from the story. He was hiding, but because he saw his buddy get injured quickly, this warg rider is going to come up right away. So it doesn't really matter. I could draw again, and that's a 4. So let us put him on the map. And I think what I'll say, let's see, I'll put it W for warg. I might have to import it. So let's do that quickly. And we'll import a letter if I can find my tokens. There we go, almost there. Okay. All right, so the warg rider, I'll put him in at 4, and I'm going to go ahead and let him up, and where he's going to come up from on the map, go to the NPCs token, and I think he comes up from up here. And we'll say that for now. Go back to Zen mode to make this look a little prettier. Okay. I don't know why that's not showing the name, but that is the warg rider. I'm going to look and make sure that in general, I've got him in the right place. Yeah, I do. Yep. So I'm just going to let him go ahead and, go ahead and let him attack. So we will need the warg rider. What does he do? Does it show? I think I'll have to view him. All right, so remember, monster attacks automatically hit. It's probably going to be hard for you to see this, but I'm going to go ahead and roll a d6 for his attack. And let's see if this like takes me out right away. 6. Ooh, spear charge. Oh my god. The warg rider tries to skewer a player character with a spear by charging straight at them. The attack inflicts 3d8 piercing damage, but can be parried. Oh my god. This might be a really quick. So this thing, I guess, charges at me and surprises me, takes me by surprise. And warg rider charges at Durendal to spear and trample him. So I'm going to say it. I'm not sure if this is. Let's first roll the 3d8. 16 points of damage. Oh my god! And he has 15. I forgot how brutal combat is supposed to be here. So let's see. He can parry, or it doesn't say evade, but boy, I am going to let him try to evade, whether or not that's legit or not. Let's go to Durendal and see if I have any notes on parry or evade. Because what I gave him was fast footwork. So I am going to pop that up for a second. Okay, so what I'm going to try to do is evade. So I'm going to try to dodge this attack. I'm going to use my fast footwork. I think it's legit. It basically says I can't dodge and parry, but I can try to, quickly dodge and try to get out from under this thing. So I am going to roll for evade. So it is a skill of a 14 plus. So I should have my skill checks here. So let us roll. I don't think there's any reason I would get a boon or a bane. So let's roll outright. Okay, now I'm not quite sure. Evade says, it says 12. Requirements. I just have to have at least a 12 evade. I have a 14. I rolled a 6, so I deftly sidestep this warg rider. Jesus, that is scary. Could have ended this game extremely early. So, all right. So we're going to say the the Goblin Scout went, the Warg went. So now Tyrindel, because he used his evade, he does not have to he doesn't have to use one of his actions. Normally he would. So I'm gonna say this thing like trampled by, stumbled, and I'm not sure if there's any penalties for close combat in Dragonbane. I'll have to look at that, but I'm gonna go ahead and have Tyrindel is going to, shake off the cobwebs after rolling out of the way, and he is going to use his short bow and try to attack this thing. Attack the. Actually, I think what he's gonna do. I mean, he knows the scout is almost dead. I think he's going to try to take out the scout because he could see that the scout really hurt himself. So he's going to look up and he is going to try to take out the scout to be done with it. So he's going to use his bow skill of 14 and he needs to roll under 14. And he rolls a 15. So he does not. So does he do another attack? Or what else can he do? I'm going to take a moment to take a look at all the different actions. I might try to shoot again, but I want to take a moment to think of the actions. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to, I've already used my initiative 9 here. I'm going to use my buddy's power here. So the Archmage Eoden is with me and he's going to turn and cast Fireball at the Warg Rider. So this is going to be my final action here. So what I'll do, and I think I can do that. Well, I'll just roll. I wonder if there's a way that I can do it in here. Roll a d20. I'd like to kind of have this be from a different Archmage Eoden. And I don't know if it's going to let me roll the attack that way, but let's try that. So we are going to roll a d20. We're trying to get under his elementalism 14. So let's see. And this, I will track willpower points, I think. I'm going to try to figure out how to do that. So I'm not just willy-nilly using this. Dang it. Oh, good. So that did say, so he rolled a 16. So I guess I can do a couple of things here. I think what I would do is if I wanted to push the roll, and I think you can push a spell cast roll, then I think I would take it out of Tyrindel's, I think is what I would do. But anyway, for now, I don't think I'm going to push the roll. I'm going to indicate. So I said once per combat for now. So I'm going to say I can't use another spell by Archmaster Eoden. And I just kind of have a one and done possibility to use. So with that, the entire first round is done. So I'm going to click off these and reset combat. And let's pull these up here. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to roll for me first. Let's shuffle, reset, shuffle a few times. And then I'm going to roll 2 cards and see where I get. So, I got a 1 and a 4. So 1, 4. I know this is a little disjointed. So, and then I will do 1 for the, we'll do the scout next. 8. And again, it's my first time playing Dragonbane. I'm sure I'm making mistakes. And 5. All right. So, I still think Tyrindel wants to get rid of that scout. So, he is going to try to get rid of that scout. The other thing I did not do that I might do next time, and in fact, you know what? This would be fun. So do I want to do it? What I was going to do is you can roll a d6 at the beginning of combat as a GM and then decide if there are any, I don't know why my deck's not here. That's interesting. But you can roll for a deck of improvised weapons. So I just, right now, I loaded up all of the improvised weapons for Forest, since that's kind of the area I'm in. So let's try that. Let's just roll a d6 just to see how this works. And we'll roll 1d6. And so a 1, that means there's just one improvised weapon. So it's basically a 1 and a 2 or a 1. So one improvised weapon. So if I want to, I can draw there. And so there's a boulder. So what I want to do, that popped it up here. So if I want to use that instead of an attack, then let's see, I'm going to make an acrobatics roll to jump on the boulder and throw yourself at an enemy within 2 meters. I think people take a little bit of advantage, like maybe I could do that for the warg. So let me think about that. But for now, I'm just going to straight up and fire using my first initiative here at the scout. So, all right, so let us go to Turindel. Oh, I should have done, sorry, Aodin. Even though it was not successful, I still think you use your points. I'll look later. So I'm going to say he used 2 of his willpower points because Fireball is a I don't think they're called levels, but it's got a 1 for casting, so that means it takes 2 willpower points. All right. So skill check. No, I don't have any advantage or anything. I don't think so. Straight up skill check, and I'm trying to get under his bow. 14. I think that did it. I think it's at or under. Roll under. Let's just make sure. Bow's 14. I want to confirm that. Okay, so yes, thankfully, if it's lower than or equal to, I succeed. So Tyrendel did succeed on his attack. So he is going to roll his short bow damage. And his short bow does 11 points of damage as this scout is removed from the map. And he is dead. So this guy's already reeling, and then this arrow comes flying and hits him right in the chest and takes him out. So that was his first attack. So now his second attack. Let me look at that boulder again, see if that's something that I want to do. Make an acrobatics roll to jump. Attack inflicts 2d6 bludgeoning damage plus damage bonus. But bludgeoning, I think, is strength, so I don't have one. Cannot be dodged or parried. If it succeeds, both you and the enemy drop to the ground. If you fail, only you fall over and suffer. Ooh, I don't like that. I think Turindel, I feel like I'll get better at this over time, but and I'm going to move. Oh no, the word writer is there. Goblin's dead. What can Chrysana do? Let me look at Chrysana for a second. Backstabbing, hard to catch. No, but I could say that she's in like weapon range, like she's got a knife. Yeah, I'll look at that later. Maybe I could do a backstab at some point, but I didn't really think about that. So I think, yeah, I think we're just gonna have Turindel shoot at the warg rider again and see how it goes. So she is gonna roll her skill check. 5 or 3, sorry, 3. So she does hit. And she is going to roll her short bow damage. I don't know how many hit points this thing has, so 15, or is that? God, that's hard to read. 9. I was hoping, so it's 9. So let us view this thing, and we'll look at mechanics. It's got 24 hit points. Probably should have looked at that first. So let's go back to initiative tracker, and the warg has 24 hit points. And it goes down. It takes, I took 9, so it's got 15. So it started with 24. I might say that it could bug out after it gets less than half. Some of these I'm just trying to improvise a little bit and see what I think. Like, would it try to flee? Would it not? I don't know. And maybe I'll use the Oracle for that. So, okay. So that's that. Now the Warg Rider gets to go. So let's look at the Warg Rider, unfortunately. And we are going to roll a d6 for the Warg Rider. And I wonder if I can I move that? Did I bring, oh, it's just going to be a W. I don't know if it will let me do that. Yeah, I don't think it will. Can I just say Warg Rider? Oh, that's cool. Did not know I could do that. So Warg Rider, and it is going to roll a d6. A 1. It's been on both ends of the spectrum. So Warg Rider gets a 1, which is Pounce. The ferocious warg pounces on a player character and slams a victim violently to the ground. The attack inflicts 2d8 bludgeoning damage. 2d8 bludgeoning damage. So I don't. I know I'm not doing things completely right. I've got to read more about, like, can I roll and then decide if I parry or dodge? I don't know. 2 points of damage. I think I'm going to do the evade, and I'm going to have to look at this later and see if I'm cheating by doing that. I might still, since I'm doing it solo, might still allow myself to do the evade. So I'm going to use my evade skill, and I need to roll a 14 or less. Let's go back to Tyrell. It's only 2 points, but since he only has, he does have, how many attacks does he have? I need to look at that. So let's roll and see what we get. All right, so I was able to evade the attack and not take that damage. But I do want to look at the Warg Rider in the adventure for a second. So I realized I did make a mistake, but I can certainly make up for that. That's not what I wanted to do. Let's get rid of this text, and I'll explain what I'm going to do. I'm going to import another token. And I was a little afraid of this, but pull this down. But the Warg Rider has a 2 for ferocity, which means he gets 2 attacks. So he missed without a attack, and I think I can only use evade once. So I'm going to draw another card, which is a 9. Okay, so I really didn't hurt anything. I guess maybe that first round, it was just kind of a surprise. He was supposed to come in the second round, so I just let him do 1 attack, but now he does get another attack. So let's look at him again, view, and let's roll our d6. And I've got that for the Warg Rider. I like that. 5. Warg Bite. So this thing tried to pounce on me, and it kind of missed, but it's right next to me. And the warg grabs a victim in its drooling maw and starts swinging them back and forth. The attack inflicts 2d10 piercing damage, and the victim is hurled 2d4 meters and lands prone. Jesus. So let's roll first for the damage. So 2d10 damage. Man, Dragonbane is pretty brutal, isn't it? That's supposed to be a 17. So what can I do? Can I do anything? Like, can you push a roll if someone damages you and have them re-roll? Because if not, Turandel might be down immediately. I might have to do a healing roll. I can only use evade once. I guess I'm going to use dodge, but that would, oh no, I can't. I've used both my actions, so I can't dodge. I can't evade. I'm going to look that up quickly. All right, so I can't push the roll. It's a damage roll. I'm out of my actions, so this Warg Rider slams me, throws me up a couple of squares by this body, and as my lifeless corpse is on the ground, it, kind of the goblin chuckles and, hits cracks the whip a little bit on the Warg Rider and leaves as they leave my lifeless body. So I am going to look up the death and dying rules. And we got to those awfully quick and see. Let me take a look at those. All right, so I am going to try to use Archmaster Eowyn. I guess I'll say I'd forgotten that I said once I get to half my hit points, I lose one of my characters, and I guess I would do that from I can't use one of their skills anymore, so maybe I'll say Krisanna. But I am going to say Archmaster Eowyn is still around, and he can try to do what is called a saving a life. And you can try this multiple times. So I'll start rolling death rolls if this fails. but I'm going to use my healing roll. So I'm going to try to use healing to stabilize and save Tyrendel's life. So let's roll a d20, and I need a 14 or lower. You can't push this. Okay. Oh, wait, it flipped over to 15? It was at 12. Oh my God. All right, so it failed. So I'm gonna go. You can't push that roll, like I said. So I don't think you can, at least. So I'm gonna go back to Tyrendel, and there are death rolls down here somewhere, I think. And a death roll is a roll against your con. So my con's a 15, so that's good. Okay, so I don't think I have a roll set up for that. So let's just do a skill check from Tyrendel, and I need a 15 or less. 4? Okay. So, oh, but that's only one. Geez, I was all ready to declare victory. So I'm going to do one success, but I need 3. 3 successes or 3 failures. So I am going to let Archmaster Aodin try again, because it does say, and maybe I'm being a little too lenient, but I'd like to like fail forward if I can, but I don't want to totally cheat here. So yeah, let's go ahead and roll a d20, and he needs a 14 or under, an 8. So he rolls a d6 to see what we get back. And I get 2 hit points back. So I'm going to get rid of the counters, and I'm going to put on my character sheet where are my hit points? That's interesting. So down in gold, hit points. Okay, so I'm gonna basically, I think I'm gonna use these. Maybe in the future I'll do these to show 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I think actually I should have done, let me look for my fast feet again, because I think what I should have done, where is my heroic abilities? Fast footwork. I'm gonna look for that. Fast foot. Yeah, that requires 3 willpower points. I used it 1, 2, 3 one time, 1, 2, 3 2 times. I think I used it twice. 1, 2. So I should show this. How do I want to do this? Maybe I want to do 2, 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 1 second. And okay. So I think how I'm going to show this, I'm going to show my full willpower points by ticking these boxes, and then my current points, I'll use the tracker to reduce my points. So same thing for my hit points. So I'm showing I have 3 hit points left, and I have 10 willpower points. So survived, but was not super successful. So let's read a little bit more. Let's see if the opening scene tells me any more. I might have to go to my book, and I might even share that with you. Let's see. So I'm gonna go to the opening scene and see what else I need to read here. So the end of combat. The goblins, I didn't read this. The goblins flee when the warg rider dies. He didn't die, so it fled. And it does say, should things go badly, somebody comes to their rescue. So I guess I should have read that ahead. It's all right. It's all good. And what are in the bundle, what comes in the bundle, and maybe I will put that on my character. Let's get rid of this, or not get rid of it, but let's go to my character. Here's my journal. I'm going to say opening scene, just so I know where this came from. And I'm going to say received a bundle from Weatherman. I don't know if we know it's Weatherman, from the dying man, which contains 2 objects. And those objects are, can I indent? Yeah. 1 map of the Misty Veil. And to a statuette piece. Statuette. Ah, geez, if I can only spell statuette piece. And I don't know if I can see if I can copy this rather than try to type it all. Oh, good. Consisting of a pedestal, lower legs, a bottom part of her sword. Okay. All right. There's a little other information. So it says that if the players notice that the statuette pieces, if they notice the statuette pieces on the map, oh, I see these up. I didn't even notice these, but up in the corner. Let's ask the Oracle. So before I look, let's ask the Oracle. Why not? So I'm just going to say deterministic. Yes. So we do. So these in the corner, if you can see them, is it letting me, how about just an arrow? So you see these up here that I'm drawing, these statuette pieces, and I can clear them now, but just wanted to show that to you. Oh, that's blur. I didn't mean to do that. I meant to erase. Erase, erase, erase. So it looks like the one in the left corner of the map. So I'm gonna do this. So and just show that that's the statuette piece that looks like we got. So that's cool. And oh wait, it doesn't. I guess it doesn't stay on the map. That's fine. And they've also heard the names Weatherman and Lenore. Okay, so we did. So I'll go back to Tyrindel and say, Tyrindel heard that the man said his name was Weatherman, and he mentioned Leonara. So I think I might put that, because remember he said, and I think I put it up here. Yeah, let's just put, I'm going to go ahead and say with, can I move this to copy? Maybe I'll just, can I just paste it here? Good. Maybe I can, that's awesome. Okay. So I did hear, so so his name is Master Weatherman, and he mentioned Leonara, see above. So at least I have all that information. So I know what he said. And so do we search the body? I think it's open to interpretation. So I'm just gonna use the standard oracle. Does Tyrindel search the body? Yes, he does search the body. So by searching the body, we find a black symbol. So after Master Weatherman perishes, dies, trying to find a different word, Tyrindel finds the, let's see, I don't know if we know this, but I'm going to say finds, well, I know we find the black symbol of Sathmog branded on his left forearm. So I don't know if we know, I know we find the black symbol. I don't know if we know that it's specifically of Sathmog, but that's something that we can probably find. And I'm just going to say clue. Well, all these are clues. So I think I'll just, yeah, I'll just say that's what I found in the opening scene. So I think that's it. Let me see if there's anything else. I think we arrive in town, or I arrive in town after that. So I think I will mark we found Statuette 1. So I'm going to advance the plot. And now we will look for finding statuette 2. So I am going to see, I'm going to add a new log, and we'll just say, where are we going to go next? I'll just do a little bit more before I end. The village outskirt, maybe? I think that's where we'll go next. So we're going to say log name village outskirt. And next time we will play that. So quick debrief. I think it worked pretty well. I know it was probably a little disjointed, and it's sometimes when you're not reading ahead, I'm going to be making some changes probably to what's supposed to happen in the book because I'm trying not, or the adventures, trying not to spoil too much. But that took just under an hour, so I think that was a pretty good amount of play session. Didn't feel too disjointed. I can probably use the oracles a lot better as I learn more about Poom, but I really liked the setup. It was fun. It was engaging. I did feel like there was some risk of dying, and I think I've planned it reasonably well with some of the skills and things that I've done. So I'm going to have to, or I'm going to have to read a little bit more about, can I do a shift rest, stretch rest, round rest? I don't really know enough about those, so I need to look that stuff up and see if I can heal myself up a bit. But I had a blast. So again, comment, let me know what you think, what you liked, didn't like. And I know I'm taking some liberties, so I wouldn't worry too much about some of the rules. But yeah, had a blast. I really enjoyed that. I'm glad I got this set up in Poom Companion. So until next session, I hope everyone has a wonderful time gaming.